Welcome to the Savvy Working Mom Podcast. This is the place where we share strategies to help you create a life you love. I'm your host, Whitney, a real-life working mom in the tech industry, professional speaker, and coach. I'm going to help you figure out how to work and mom in a way that brings you joy by using simple systems and through interviews with other working moms who are making it work. Remember that with intentional and daily action, you can live your best days now and forever. Melody Keel is an accomplished clinical research consultant, devoted wife and mother to a 13 and 6-year-old. She lives just outside of Atlanta, Georgia. Leveraging almost 2 decades of expertise leading pharmaceutical clinical trials, she runs a consulting firm helping clients efficiently and effectively navigate the complexity of the drug development process. In addition to her consulting practice, Melody founded the Mom Sanctuary, an elite collective for professional mothers seeking to amplify their success and significance across family, career, and communities. Melody, I am so glad to have you here on the Savvy Working Mom podcast. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, I wanted to talk to you first about finding time for yourself. Making time for yourself as a mother, right? Or as a woman, I should say, because you're a mother and you're a wife and you run your own business and you also founded the Mom Sanctuary. And I know that when you have all those different hats that you wear, all those different responsibilities and people who need you and work that need you, that you are happy about, right? You're excited that these people need you. Yes. You want that in your life. This is the life you've designed for yourself, but that life can be so full that sometimes, at least I know I've had this problem where my life can be so full that I start to lose space for me. Has that ever happened to you?
It happens every day. So I have to be very intentional about my time and prioritizing me. And that's a lesson. That's an ongoing lesson that I have had to teach myself. It wasn't always a priority for me. And I found myself always at the end of the pile, running on E, perpetually tired. And I had to force myself to reckon with the fact, after I had a stroke at 40 years old, that I had to make myself a priority. Physically, mentally, and spiritually, I had to become a priority for myself so that I could be here for the people I love.
I definitely want to dig into how you made yourself a priority, right? How you made that switch. But before we do that, can you share some of the outcomes? Like now that you are making yourself a priority, what do you see different in your life?
I see myself calmer and not on edge all the time. And my children and my husband and my family and friends enjoy being around me more because I'm present. And so I'm not just ticking the boxes that I got the list of things done, right? The task list that never goes away, but I'm kinder and I have more patience. And I enjoy being with the people that I want to spend the time with and that I do all this for because I'm in a better space. And before I would snap and everyone was walking on eggshells and it was just, you never know which side of me you were going to get.
That sounds like I think a lot of us can relate to when you're stretched too thin, right? When you're not doing the things to restore yourself, it's so hard to be present and it's so easy to snap at other people and to have, a short fuse and maybe say things that you don't mean, or at least say them with a tone that you don't really mean to say them in.
Right. It's just not pleasant. And you want the people that you want to be with, you want them to be with you. And that became more important to me than getting a million things done in the day and not taking the time to refresh and replenish myself.
Yeah, I totally hear you on that. And I'd love to understand a little bit more tactically how you do this. For example, I know you were traveling last week, you were in San Juan. Next week, you're heading to Switzerland. Yes. And that means that as a wife and mother, let alone a business owner, right? And this week, you have a lot to get done. Yes. How are you getting those things done while also finding time for you?
I can use this week as a really good example of how I've intentionally made time for myself. I wake up early. I'm an early bird. So that's an automatic kind of placeholder for me.
How early is early?
I am a 4:35 a.m. kind of girl.
Okay, that is definitely early, no matter how you slice it.
Everyone sleep except my miniature schnauzer. When I get up, he gets up, but he doesn't bug me and I don't bug him. So But that's a time where I pray, I read my devotion, I read my scripture, and it gives me the opportunity, because I am a Christian and because of my faith and how important it is for me to have a relationship with God. I feel like that is when I get filled up. I get filled up. And when I miss that time, my day is usually complete chaotic mishaps. That sums up what my day is when I miss that early morning time for myself and my time in communicating and having some moments with God. And so that is like my primary place every day and where I go for my replenishment. But then I also have other things. And depending on how busy the day is and what I have going on, I love to go on a walk. My neighborhood has tons of hills. So I get to walk. I get to burn out some frustration trying to get up these steep hills. And it really gives me time to be creative. And I think that's something we forget, that we're here to create. It's just what we should be doing. And if we don't give ourselves the time and space to create, there's always this level of frustration because we haven't had time to like think and let our thoughts go and where, what if, what could be, and just come up with ideas and what we want for ourselves and our family and our friends and our communities. And so walking for me is a really great way. And that's how I intentionally put another space for myself.
So what I'm hearing from you are two things that I agree are extremely important. Is one, finding some time for your mind, for your spirit, right? For your connection with God. If you're not connecting with God, connecting with the universe, your higher self, whoever, whatever it is that you feel you need. Yes. Outside of your daily life, right? That greater power that exists for all of us in some way, shape, or form. And also finding time to move your body, right? And yes, I think I love this idea of walking up and down hills because it does give you those little bursts of like physical exertion.
It does.
That help work the stress out, like you said, because stress really does sit in our body. And taking that time for your mind and for your body once a day, it sounds like an amazing way to take care of yourself.
It is. It feels great. And I am not a gym person or exercise person. Like everyone that knows me knows I hate the gym. Like I'm trying to develop a love affair with the gym and lifting weights. But until that happens, walking is it for me. And I mean, you feel the blood pumping through your veins and your heartbeat and you're sweating. But when you finish, you feel so good. And it's like a free gift to yourself. Everybody can walk. It doesn't cost a thing. You can do it.
It's so true. And I think the other thing I really like that you brought up there is some people like the gym, right? And some people don't. It's about finding the type of movement that works for you.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Like, I know for me, I like lifting weights. And so I have a barbell downstairs in our basement and I just sometimes will go down and pump out a few deadlifts, like, and just like get that energy out, give a little scream and then get right back at whatever it is that I was doing before.
I have to say you're my shero for that. I'm going to work up to that.
But only if you want to, right? Heavy lifting is fun for me. I get a lot out of it. I enjoy it. I don't like cardio though. Cardio is not my thing.
But that's the thing, finding what works for you, whatever that may be. It may be a walk. It may be lifting weights. It may be going and getting a massage once a week or once a month. It just has to be what works for you.
And how did you find what works for you, right? How did you find that your time with God in the morning and walking is the thing that really fills you up and allows you to be your best self?
It was trial and error. And a lot of times we look at other people and we say, oh, that works for them. I'm going to try that. Like one of my friends is a runner. And when she comes to visit from Singapore, she's running like 3 miles early in the morning. I was like, ooh, I can do that. And I ran like 1 block and I was like, this is not for me. Never again. But that works for her, but not me. So I think you just have to do trial and error and be true to yourself. You know what you like. You know what you don't. And go with what you like.
I love that. I think it's so true that sometimes we look and see what other people are doing and feel bad that thing doesn't work for us, right? It's like, oh, and what's wrong with me? Because listen, I don't run either. I do not like running. These hips are not built for that. But when I've tried it in the past and I'm like, I remember getting down on myself, like, what's wrong with me? I don't like running. I can't run. And I was like, you know what? There's nothing wrong with me. I just don't like running. That doesn't mean there's something wrong with me.
Exactly. We guilt ourselves out of what we need. And I think it's a mechanism, like kind of self-sabotage, because we say, well, I don't want to run. That's not for me. I don't lift weights. That's not for me. I'm just going to go back to what I need to do. I don't have time to figure this out.
And so how do you get out of that rut, right? How do you stop guilting yourself for and stopping yourself from doing the things that you need?
I think it's a mind shift change. And it's hard because we aren't necessarily programmed to take care of ourselves. As women, we're programmed to be caregivers and to be of service to everyone around us. And our worth is kind of measured by how much of that can we do. And so when we have that programming happening, it takes a mind shift change and a kind of detox, right? We're detoxing that programming that we've been put into from being little girls up. I mean, even when we're playing house as little girls, we take these attitudes and mentalities on. And so I think you have to really be intentional about changing your viewpoint on that and feeling okay about prioritizing yourself and making time for yourself and spending some money on yourself. I think you just have to be intentional. And it doesn't happen just by saying, oh, I'm going to do it. No, you have to be intentional. You have to write your plan down. You have to put it on your family calendar. And everyone has to buy into the fact that this lady needs her time. And we're going to make sure she gets it, because when she has it, we're all better.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, that's so true. And I think that's the big part, right? Put it on the family calendar and don't feel bad about it.
Right.
Right. Put it on the family calendar and feel great about it. Because like you said, when you did this, when you started doing these things, you became a better friend, a better wife, a better mother. Like you
Yes.
leveled up by taking care of yourself.
I mean, it impacts every aspect of your life, because the things I want to do, like serve at my church, take on more clients, do some charitable work. Like there's all these things we want to do as amazing women, amazing mothers, but we're able to accomplish that when we carve out this little bit of time for ourselves. It just is this amazing effect. And it's probably tied to one of the universe laws, right? That we just haven't tapped into. Because it's amazing to me that when I take time for myself, when I didn't think I even had that time to give to myself, and the multiplying effect and the outcome that it brings is so positive. So why weren't we doing this all along?
I don't know. I really don't know. But I know that changes today. It's already changed for
Yes.
you and for me. And if you're listening to this, then this needs to change today for you too.
Absolutely.
I think, yeah. And I will say right now, if you're listening to this podcast and you're not planning on taking action on anything that you're hearing, then go ahead and turn it off, because you're just wasting your time. We're going to still be talking for another few minutes, but I think this one thing that Melody just said is the thing that you should be taking action on, which is taking care of yourself.
Yes.
Change your mindset and know that you are worthy of it. You deserve it. And the world gets better when you do.
It does. It gets better for you. It gets better for those around you. And just imagine if every mother, every woman was able to embrace this, the magnitude of the change that would happen. It would be small maybe to you, but it could be so amplified if everybody just learned to embrace this.
So let's talk a little bit more tactically about, and I know you started digging in on this, but for the cheap seats in the back, let's make sure we say it super clear. How do we find the time?
Yes.
How do we find the time for those activities that replenish us?
So let me tell you, I have to first give you a little bit of background on what time means to me, because this is something that's just really sticking me these days. There's such a misconception about time. Time is money. Time is not money. Time is infinitely more valuable than money. Time is the most valuable asset we have. I can lose all my money and make it again. I can't lose all my time and make it again. You don't have that option. So when we say we don't have time, I think it is a big lie and a big excuse that we're giving ourselves to not have to make the changes that we know we need to make to be better. And so we do have the time. We have the time for the things that are a priority and that we feel like we have to do. And so when you look at it that way and you realize that time is infinitely more valuable than any other asset we have, and that making the time for yourself makes things better for you and your family, then why not prioritize that little block of time, that 45 minutes for a walk, that 30 minutes in prayer and scripture or talking to the universe, whatever speaks to you. Why can't you carve that out for yourself?
I think the answer is because we're not prioritizing ourselves.
Exactly. Exactly. It's just that simple. There's no complicated equation to it. You have the time, you pull it out and you give it to yourself. And then let everything else fall behind it in your 24 hours that you've been given for that day.
I think that's so true. And something that just kind of came to me is I remember talking to one of my girlfriends once. This is like back when we were, single, ready to mingle. And she was so into this guy and he would ghost her often. And I said to her, like, people make time for what they want, and if he was interested in you, he would be responding, and he's not responding. So I don't think he's that interested in you. Please don't be mad at me for saying that, but it's the truth.
True.
And that right now just correlated for me. Like, I need to be interested in myself.
Yes.
Right. We need to be interested in ourselves and show up for ourselves, right? We can't just go prioritizing the whole world and not prioritizing ourselves, right? You got to be interested in yourself.
And that's the mindset shift that I'm talking about. And understanding your worth and your value and how important you are in the framework of your family, your professional life, your business, your community, and understanding that there's only one you and we need you. So you have to be the best version of yourself. And that's an evolving process. But not giving yourself time for you doesn't allow you to get to the best version of yourself.
So true. And I know that your business, right? The business you run, it's a big 7-figure business. Y'all, she's like the real deal, huge business that she's running. And you still felt the need to found the mom retreat. Where did that come from? Did that come from kind of the stuff that we're talking about right now?
It did. It did. Selfishly, the Mom Sanctuary was birthed out of me needing a community of women who are on this track together, this journey together of becoming the best versions of ourselves. And this business that I built, this consulting business, I don't have a team. It's just me. And I've always been like, I can do this. I got this. And I got multiple clients and I got multiple laptops and I'm traveling to different places for different clients. No assistant, no ops manager, none of that. And one day I realized, what the heck am I doing? Like, this is not meant to be done solo. Nothing is. And I realized if I had got connected with a community of like-minded women years ago, how much further along I would be, right? And so that's why I started the Mom Sanctuary, because one, so many of us don't prioritize ourselves. We don't know how to do self-care and self-restoration. And we don't have a community of like-minded women who understand the kind of goals and the ambitions that we have. So it came out of a selfish space, honest and transparent. But I think the women that I've connected with so far, the resounding trend is, this is so needed. I need this. And so I think even though it's birthed from a selfish space, it's meant to help all of us.
And I think that selfish space, like you say that, but really sometimes our needs, right? The needs that we have, we feel like we're the only one. And I actually find it selfish to not share that you have that need.
Yes, so true.
There's so much power and solidarity, right? When you step up and say, hey, I have this challenge and I have this need, then other moms can look around and go, oh, I'm not the only one. I need this thing too. Me too. There's nothing. And then it makes you feel like there's nothing wrong with me. Okay, this is a need. Now let's come together and figure out how to solve it, right? How to make it better.
And rock this out together, not on my own little corner of the earth, trying to struggle and figure this thing out.
Yes. And I'm so glad that you started the Mom Sanctuary just for that, right? Because bringing women together just to talk through these things, it makes it better for us. And I think also the modeling, right, that you get out of it. So at the Mom Sanctuary, I know women will see other women and what they're doing to take care of themselves.
And that's the goal. That's the whole goal. Absolutely.
And they'll see that these women, they're taking care of themselves and they're highly successful, however you might define success.
Right.
And what does that mean? That means that you can be successful however you might want to define success and take care of yourself. Or maybe you need to take care of yourself to achieve great success.
Yes. There you go.
So let's talk a little bit about that before we go. How do you define success?
I'm glad you asked me that, because this has been kind of a transforming question over the last few years of what success means to me. And I mentioned that I had a stroke a few years ago. It was out of the blue, shouldn't have happened. I'm healthy, all of that. And before that, I think I define success as a measure of material things. And is my family healthy? And do we have the house and the cars? Are we in the schools? And do we get to take the vacations we want? And all of that's nice, but that's not success, especially if you're burned out, your time does not belong to you, and you've created a prison for yourself in order to maintain the success as you define it. And so I have now reframed what success means to me. And success is freedom and having my time as my time, being able to do what I want to do, when I want to do it, how I want to do it, without any type of constraints or requirements. That is success. And I'm working towards that. I think it's a lifelong evolving door, right? To get to that point where time is all your own. But the material things are great. The revenue is great. I'm not going to take away from that. But having your time and being able to dole it out as you choose, that's success.
That sounds successful to me. Thank you so much for being on the show, Melody. Where can people find you if they want to know more about you or the Mom Sanctuary?
So you can email me at hello@themomsanctuary. And you can also find us on Instagram at the Mom Sanctuary.
At the Mom Sanctuary is the place to go.
Everything's at the Mom Sanctuary.
Yes, everything's at the Mom Sanctuary. Let's say that again.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
You are welcome. That's all we've got for this episode of the Savvy Working Mom podcast. One thing that would really help both us and other potential listeners is for you to rate this show and leave a comment on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever you listen in. Also, make sure to link up with us at thesavvyworkingmom.com and on Instagram at thesavvyworkingmom. And please just share this podcast with any other mama who you think might enjoy or benefit from it. Until next time, remember, with intentional and daily action, you can live your best days now and forever.